Greetings, social media fans, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're at. Anyway, the reason, welcome to another Motivational Monday with Coach Larry. One of the things that I do in my coaching practice, aside from, now, of course, last time we talked about things like, as far as defining an objective, basically setting identify where you want to go, defining your purpose. Today, I want to talk about strategizing your actions so that you can have the kind of results you want. Because just like anything else, you need to have a proper strategy. You got to know where you want to go, and of course, map out the course to get there. Now, I'm sure that when you started off with whatever business you have, you were very passionate about doing this kind of work and helping the people that you were helping, and of course, making money in the process. Nothing wrong with that. Now, a lot of times, though, we tend to burn the candle at both ends with all of the things involved in doing, in working in the business. It gets so inundating and frustrating that you're not working on the business, but you're doing a lot of the menial tasks that aren't as productive, and you wind up burning like I said, burning the candle at both ends, and doing a lot of the stuff that you could easily delegate. See, one of the things about growing a business is knowing when to delegate and what to delegate. Now, strategizing your actions is the second of part of my coaching practice, where you want to basically minimize excess work, wasted expenses, because a lot of times when you're when you're trying to get things done, you're pouring good money after bad. Maybe you have a marketing campaign that you're not tracking properly. Maybe you're putting too much into one area that's not providing the results you need, or maybe you have outdated equipment or whatever it is, and you need to basically have a better strategy so that you're able to put yourself, do the area, concentrate on the areas that are most productive for you and streamline the path to success. So stick around. Now, straight truth. Hard work is absolutely critical. No problem. It's important that you work hard and you be diligent in what you're doing. But smart work is even more important. You can be working hard at a task and find that the work that you put in, all of the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into that particular project, yielded very little, if any, results, because it was, putting good money after bad, or putting too much emphasis on the wrong thing. And you don't know it's a mistake until afterwards. We get into this cycle of exhaustion. There are others that basically strategize and thrive even when they're not working. Most importantly, like I say, the best business businesses have a system that will work for them even when they're not working. Now, Robert Kiyosaki, who was one, who was famous for writing his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, is and also the cash flow quadrant. He talks about the four aspects of the business. You got the E quadrant, which is being an employee. The S quadrant, self-employed. Basically, you have a business which is like a longer hours in a job that could either be profitable, but you're still working the business, and you're putting more hours than you would at a regular 9 to 5 job. But in order to, and a lot of times when you put in all those hours, you're not always seeing the results as if you were putting in overtime at a 9 to 5. And either way, you burn yourself out. I myself have been at jobs where I would put in all kinds of hours and just burn myself out because I would stay at the office really late and either on the phones or doing whatever I was doing in order to generate more money. But unfortunately, trading hours for dollars can kind of take you away from other things that are important. A recent video I was watching about William Shatner. Everybody knows who he is. He's a famous actor who is famous for his role as Captain James T. Kirk of the Enterprise. And when he was doing Star Trek, especially in these the first couple of seasons when the show was airing, it was taking a big toll on him because he was putting his career before his family, and as a result, his marriage suffered. He had, and as soon as the show ended, within a week or two, his wife filed for divorce, and because stating that he was mostly absent. I mean, he finally got a better relationship with his children down the road, but it cost him. And that I look at as a consequence. If you put too much emphasis on that, you wind up, you don't want to give up living just to earn a living. Don't give up your life just to earn a living. I think it's a better way of putting it. Now, strategy basically gives you the blueprint of the success. You want to strategize your actions. You want to know what your purpose is, and you also want to use your resources efficiently, so that you know what you're going to be using and how your resources are going to be used. And to avoid burnout, obviously you want to do it in a way where you can do the most work in the least amount of time. Delegate where necessary and where it's also affordable. If there's something that you can do, if you're doing a job that you can make $100 an hour, yet you're putting in time that you could pay someone $20 an hour, you're losing $80 every hour you're doing the $20 an hour job. Why? Delegate that to someone who you can pay $20 an hour and do the $100 an hour thing that you do better. That way, you'll be able to pay the 20 and still keep the 80, or put it into other areas of your business. And you measure your progress. I mean, you see what works, you record what works, what doesn't work, and you keep track of it. Now, we all know that overworking is going to cause you burnout. You lose creativity, and you miss opportunities to delegate and automate, and you can also make a lot of costly mistakes. In my own experience, I remember, as I said, trying to take on everything myself. And I've had managers that were micromanagers, which they focused on a lot of the minute details of everything that everybody was doing. Now, in some ways, micromanaging can be a good thing, but too much micromanaging can hinder productivity, not to mention drive everybody nuts. What you want to do, like I say, and now with this age of automation, it's amazing what can be done. The age of AI, what used to take hours to create, you can do it in minutes, and in some cases even seconds, and even better than a team of humans can do by just using a computer. But you have to train the computer properly in the beginning, so it's going to take a little more time in the beginning, but train it. And this way, when you're strategizing and you're doing new projects, you'll be able to do it much more easily, much more effectively. Now, for business growth, you define your core goals. What matters most? You do the most important thing. Everybody's got a to-do list. But don't look at it as a to-do list. Look at it as, okay, all these things that you need to, that need to be done. What is urgent and important? What is important but not urgent? What is urgent but not necessarily important? And what is neither? And basically what you want to do is you want to prioritize as to what's going to give you the best results short term, and then of course long term. If it's something that can wait, if you have a project that you need to take care of for a major client, or have a car or some machinery prepared or whatever it is for a major client or major customer that has to be done by noon, and it's 8:00, obviously that has to take priority over anything. A lot of meetings that are scheduled, meetings are important, but you don't want the meetings to overlap, servicing the client and being productive. There have been times when, especially if you're in a sales position, if you're meeting with a major client and there's a staff meeting that is about something that that's going to go up, that's going to be taking place in a week or a month or whatever it is. But yes, the meeting's important, but if you're with a client and you're working out an arrangement to bring in a huge amount of revenue for your company and satisfying that client, clearly bringing in the money is more important than a lesser important meeting. Yes, the boss needs, the boss, if you're working for someone, needs to be, needs to be respected and whatnot. But I'm sure most bosses, most managers, especially if you're in an environment where you say, "Hey, listen, I'd love to. I have to miss this meeting because because I'm working with a client that is going to mean like a, $1 million deal or more, multi-million-dollar deal." I think the boss will be a little lenient if he's seeing you're generating enough revenue to be excused. No one's ever told you. I mean, I've done sales in the past, and no one's ever told me not to produce. Audit your time and what you're spending your time doing. What is? Let's face it. When you're when you're when you're spending time, you have to see where your time is going and to what. You can't just be scrolling social media all day long or doing your emails. Those things are important. I mean, if you're promoting on social media, do it at specific times when you know that your audience is going to be on and they're going to be watching at that time. Your emails, obviously it has to be done systematically. Don't open your emails until unless it's an urgent email. Take a quick look. If there's anything that urgently needs your attention, fine. But I wouldn't open my emails until roughly around 10:30, 11, because that can be more, because the early morning can be more productive. At least for me it is. But everybody's situation is different. Leverage your technology. Now, today, technology, as I said, is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, 10 years ago, there was no such thing as AI. What's AI? Having a robot go on and do a presentation like this, or just dictating into a machine and have it produce a full report. You got to, of course, check it, proofread it, and make whatever tweaks you can, and make sure it's grammatically correct and it's not plagiarizing anything. And of course, whatever information is on there, you want to make sure that it's accurate and up to date. If you rely on AI completely by itself, mistakes are easily overlooked. And you don't want to overlook a mistake. You don't want to, because it's going to ruin your own credibility. Build a strong team. A lot of people pride themselves on being able to do things on their own. The self-made millionaire. No one's ever self-made. Everybody gets help in one way or another from having doors open for them. Now, what does that mean? If you're selling a product, you start off prospecting and knocking on doors, and going out, making appointments and pitching people or companies or whatever. I mean, but once people see what you're doing and your persistence is paying off, and your dedication and the quality of what you're doing is up to par, hey, go for it. and as things progress, you start needing help. You delegate certain tasks to people who are better suited for those tasks. And then and you have a network of people that you're that are helping you, that are either selling for you or doing a lot of the back end administrative work. I mean, there there is no such thing as a one man company that brings in billions and billions, because let's face it, you need the customers, and the more business that gets developed, the more follow up that needs to be done, and the more servicing that needs to be done, and it's a chain. I mean, nobody can do everything by himself. Someone I learned from, Christian Michelson, who's a success coach for coaches. Oddly enough, he started off doing his coaching business, and over time he created coaches with clients, and he's got $1 billion business. Tony Robbins started off selling self improvement tapes for Jim Rohn and different programs for his company. And then as things progressed, he started writing his own books, and over time built a coaching practice of his own, consulting, and then he was called upon by captains of industry and high government officials, professional athletes. I mean, he even had clients like Princess Di, Andre Agassi, even Bill Clinton approached him. That's an amazing feat by itself. But you need a team to help you handle all that, because as things grow, you want your business to grow, and the only way it's going to continue to grow and grow properly is if you bring in the right people who may have skills you lack, and you may be able to help them with skills that they lack. The important thing is that everybody works together. There's no I in team. Now, another thing one of the things I talk about is basically developing your skills. So always have continual learning. When I was in the financial industry, insurance and investment products, I remember having to go to continuing education classes every year. Sometimes a few times, sometimes several times throughout the year, just to keep my licenses active for insurance, as I said, investments. When I was living in Jersey, in order to keep my insurance license active, I had to take continuing ed courses. The same was true with the securities portion. Mortgage, of course, since the crisis since the mortgage crisis way back when, we had, they changed the laws regarding, mortgage loan originators. The subprime market really did a lot of damage because the arms were adjusting, adjustable rate mortgages. It was 3 years fixed, and then after the third year, The rates were adjusting and usually going up, and the payments were becoming so unbelievably high that people were losing their homes. But you got to set boundaries. Work life balance. It's not just a buzzword. You need to be able to, as I was talking about William Shatner and people and others like him, you got to be able to balance your work life and your personal life and your because let's face it, everybody is always heard you've always heard the expression all work and no play. You got to play. You got to find time to just say, okay, work day's over, time to chill out, do something fun, whatever that is. Take a walk, ride your bike, play golf, swim, work out in the gym. If you're a chef, cook up an amazing meal and surprise your spouse or significant other or your children, grandchildren if you have any. And you also want to, obviously you want to do what has focus on the highest impact activity, but you also want to cut your expenses, negotiate with your vendors, negotiate with others that whoever you get any kind of goods or services from, you want to get the best value for your money. And we're all hagglers. Tests ideas on a small scale. I'm also going to put in the show notes a link to an Amazon account or my Amazon link that you could just check out certain books by certain authors that will give that'll give you a better insight. You could also download a Kindle, also very good, and get certain books and tapes or books and audio books or Kindle books, whatever or even watch some other videos from other people. There's Jeb Blunt. Fine, he's good. I mentioned Robert Kiyosaki. He's got some really good books out there, and also I think he probably has a YouTube channel as well. Let's see who else. There's Anthony Robbins. He's also very good. There's quite a few. And you monitor regularly the return on every expenses. ROI is very important because every dollar you spend for whatever business expenses, you want to make sure that you get back at least $2 to $3 or more for every dollar that you spend. Let's face it, if you take $1 and you get back $10, how many dollars do you think you could afford to put into that particular program? As many as possible. Of course, if you like what you're hearing, I know that I'm not the most prolific speaker, but my clients get results. And if you're interested, like I say, if you're interested in learning more about some of the stuff that we're offering, put a like and subscribe to this channel, and also give me a note saying, telling me that you want to book a free session. Let me know what kind of business you have and what you're looking to do, and I'll be more than happy to go over what you're looking, go over your business with you, what your plans are, what you're looking, how you're looking to graduate to the next level. My average client builds up, goes anywhere from 2 to 10 times, 10 times his revenue in the first year. So even if you go 5 times your revenue in year one, that's got to be worth something, right? But and best of all, you get to enjoy your work more because you're not stressing out over every little thing. There are ways to improve your productivity, increase your sales, increase your you know, your customer satisfaction and retention without necessarily breaking your back or going without adequate sleep or skimping on your nutritional needs. Now, I usually have a section where I talk about healthy hump day, which I talk about health and nutrition, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But if you want a free strategy session, put in the notes, like and subscribe, and put in a comment with your, and I will be more than happy to get back to you. Or you can instant message me on Facebook, here of course, and or on LinkedIn. Just instant message me or send me a message on LinkedIn, or of course here. That's it for now. Stay powerful and stay strong, and unleash your powerful self. Have a good one.